Hello, my name is Fiona Botsford and I'm course lead for the foundation degree in Children, Young People and Their Services at Hugh Baird University Centre. We call this course CHIPS for short because the title is actually quite long. So if you have childcare qualifications or any qualifications related to education, perhaps health and social care, or A-level qualifications in the social sciences or those kinds of areas, qualifications up to level 3, and perhaps some relevant work experience working with children and young people, and you'd like to do a degree related to that subject, then this might be the course for you. So next slide, please. So what is the CHIPS Foundation degree? Well, it's a level 5 qualification. It takes 2 years to complete. It's actually equivalent to the first 2 years of an honours degree. And after you've completed the 2 years, it is a qualification in its own right, the level 5 qualification. But once you've completed that qualification, you actually will have an option to stay with us for an additional year to do a top-up qualification where you can actually top up to an honours degree, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. The degree itself, the foundation degree, has a very strong focus on employability and career readiness. It includes academic study, typically across 2 days per week on the timetable, but it also has a work-based placement element. This needs to be in a formal setting with children or young people, anywhere between the ages of 0 and 19. So this could be across a range of settings. It can be voluntary work, it could be paid work, so you could already be in employment as a teaching assistant, for example, or as an early years practitioner. The kinds of settings typically that our students use as placement are schools, early years settings, children's centres, sometimes charities, youth work, but it's quite flexible really, as long as it is a formal setting with children and or young people. This means that you will leave with both an academic qualification, but also really good work experience, which is so important moving forward after your degree. So the course itself, you have this practical element, but you also come in a couple of days a week and complete modules, and all of the modules help you to link the theory that you're learning to practice. The assessments vary. Often they're essay-based, but sometimes they're presentations, and sometimes they're work-based tasks where you actually have to do some work in placement towards your assessment. And this builds your skills both academically and professionally, which is hopefully very valuable as you complete your qualification and move on into the workplace or into higher level study. Next slide, please. So after you finish the foundation degree, you can stay with us for an extra year and do what we call a top-up qualification, which would take your foundation degree up to BA honours level. And the qualification that we have at the moment that follows on from CHIPS is the BA in Children, Schools and Families. It is a natural follow-on from CHIPS. It links in very neatly with the knowledge base that you've acquired across the 2 years with us. But it is a separate course. You're not obliged to stay on for that extra year. It's something that you apply for during your second year when you've made that decision whether you're going to stay or not. I have to say most students do choose to stay with us, which I think says something about the experience, the good experience that they have on the course. But it's also open to other applicants as well once we're on the top up. So we sometimes have students that come across from health and social care, the mental health foundation degree, and also external applicants who've done level 5 qualifications in other institutions who come to us just for the top up year. So it's quite nice because we have a new mix of students in the third year. But as I say, it is a completely separate course, and you do have to complete the foundation degree before you can be considered for the top-up year. So next slide, please. So the qualification itself actually comes from the University of Central Lancashire. So we work in very close partnership with the university based in Preston. You would have dual enrolment, so you're enrolled both at Hugh Baird and at UCLan. And then that means that your qualification is guaranteed to be of a certain quality because it comes from a highly regarded institution, UCLan. But you don't actually attend UCLan, you attend Hugh Baird, so you get that experience, which is a little bit different to going to a conventional university, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But what it means for us is that, you know, there's a certain amount of standardisation, which means that the experience that you have in terms of how you are assessed and the quality of the degree that you finish with is comparable and equal to any degree you would get from UCLan or in any of the other partnership colleges that we also work very closely with. We have a long-standing relationship with UCLan and with the partnership. We work very closely with everybody. Staff quite often do meet up and share ideas, and we do cross-moderation of assessments and things like that. But as students, your experience will be at Hugh Baird Centre, but you will be a UCLan student. So what this means is that when you have completed your degree, you do get an opportunity to graduate, just like any degree student would. You will graduate after your foundation degree, and then you'll also have another opportunity to graduate if you stay on for the top-up as well. So potentially, you could actually go to 2 ceremonies. It's up to you whether you choose to do that or not. But this picture is a group of students wearing the UCLan graduation robes, which is what you'd be entitled to wear for the ceremony. And we have a lovely day. We always used to have to go to Preston to actually attend the graduation ceremony, but in more recent years, we've been holding it at Hugh Baird. So it's very focused on our students. It's a lovely event, and we enjoy it every year, and hopefully we get back to normal this year and are able to have our graduation again once we get back to a little bit of normality in the coming months. So next slide, please. So what would you study on the course? Well, the typical content is what you can see on the screen there, which probably no surprises to anybody who's ever studied childcare before. On the whole, very much follows on from and builds on anything that you've done at level 3 previously. Obviously, there's developmental theory in there. We look at all areas of children's development: cognitive, social, emotional, language development, physical development, all of those things. We also look at curriculum and educational practices, because every child is a school child, and even in the early years, as anybody who works in early years will know, there's an early years curriculum. So we look at the EYFS and we look at national curriculum and all of those things. We look at policies and practices and how those things relate together, and this includes safeguarding. It also includes equality and diversity. We have a whole module based on those things. So building on how policy comes about, and then why policy is in place, and then when it's in place, what it actually looks like in practice and what that means for you as a practitioner and for the children and the families that you work with as well. Very importantly, in the first year, we have an academic study skills module, which is very much about helping you to take that step in terms of your academic study skills. Lots of our students come to us as mature students, or they've had a little bit of a break in their education, and it's about warming them up and getting them, you know, up to speed and back into practice of writing essays and so on, and also to help you to acquire skills that are required of undergraduate, higher education, university level student that you may not have actually had to do before. So we have a whole module around that in the first year, so that you are completely ready for your assignments when they come. And in the second year, we have a management and leadership module, and the reason why that's there is because potentially a level 5 qualification, actually, which the foundation degree is, without you ever having done the top up, is potentially a springboard into applying for management roles. So that gives you the underpinning knowledge and the theory that you could use if you want to move forward in that direction. So next slide, please. So why would you come to Hugh Baird University Centre and not choose another institution such as UCLan? Well, it would be a different experience to go into a bigger, more conventional university, and lots of students choose us for that reason. We do have much smaller class sizes than you get typically in a larger university. Typically around 15 students. We have student-friendly timetables. We don't spread the timetable all across the week in bits and pieces, the way tends to happen with more kind of modular degrees at other institutions. It is concentrated across 2 days so that you can manage your time and plan accordingly. You would need time on top of that for independent study and also to do placement hours, which just makes it that bit more manageable, especially for those of you who are more mature students, perhaps have other responsibilities, caring responsibilities and children and all that kind of thing. We're always very highly commended on our pastoral support. We're very focused on supporting our students. We're very student-centred. We get to know our students very well because of the small class sizes, and they get to know us well as too. So we have a good relationship. We have dedicated student engagement officers, or SEOs, in the University Centre who work alongside us, and their role is sort of mostly pastoral with a little bit of academic support as well. Although they're not attached to any specific course, they work with students across all the courses to support us and you to sort of overcome any potential barriers to attending and that kind of thing, and they will support you if you ever sort of have any issues that need to be addressed. We do have our University Centre building, a specialised centre that is separate across the road from the main college building, which gives us that nice university feeling and identity. Although we are still close enough to the college to still be part of that whole community, and you still have access to all those facilities across the whole campus. But it does mean, you still get the opportunity to sort of have our own space, if you like, which is just dedicated to our students. We have classroom delivery rather than lecture theatres, so you're not just a face in a huge crowd. The way we teach is quite interactive. We do a certain amount of lecture style delivery because that's the nature of university level teaching, but it's also lots of group-based activity, it's discussion-based, lots of opportunities to ask questions if you have them. And feels quite comfortable for a lot of students in a way that perhaps a lecture theatre would feel a little bit more intimidating. So this suits students who choose to come to us for a whole range of reasons. And also, we're often more local for students than perhaps having to travel into the city centre or go even out of Liverpool to access university education. We're nice and handy, in Sefton, in the middle of Bootle. So there's a whole range of reasons why students come to us. One of the key reasons is that we have a lot of mature students. We have a lot of students who have families and work responsibilities. Even though they're full-time students, they may still have to do some paid work as well. Whole range of things going on in people's lives. And having that student-friendly timetable, being local, having the support available and getting to know us really well is quite an attractive proposition, because it just makes it feel a little bit of an easier step perhaps than going to a more conventional university setting. Next slide, please. So if you're interested in the course, if you have qualifications and or work experience with children and young people and you'd like more information, or you'd like to apply to go on the course, feel free to contact me, Fiona, at that email address, fionabotsford@hughbaird.ac.uk. In a few weeks, hopefully, I'll be able to access the phone at work as well, and that's my extension number. Or you can contact my colleague, Hayley Wilson, who also teaches on the course, and she's faculty lead for health and education at the University Centre too. So either of us can give you all the information that you need, or you can apply directly via the Hugh Baird website. So thank you for joining me, and if you are interested in coming on the course, I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Thank you.